Hey folks, I wanted to do almost kind of like a public service announcement here for gun owners. Here in front of you I have two suppressors. I got this one 2 weeks ago and I just got this one Friday. This one here came in, took 9.5 months, and this one here took 6 months. Kind of funny, I submitted the paperwork for this. NFA accepted this 4 months after this, yet it came in only 2 weeks after. So kind of interesting. But anyway, to the story. In case you're not familiar with purchasing a suppressor, it is an NFA item. You have to send in paperwork to the BATFE, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. You have to submit the paperwork to get a stamp. Once you get the, and how it works is you purchase the suppressor at the NFA dealer, the gun shop, and after you purchase the suppressor, it's yours, but you cannot take it home until you get the stamp. So at the time you purchase it, the gun shop will submit your paperwork, and about a week or two after you submit the paperwork and the check, by the way, for $200, you'll see the check cash. At that point, that's kind of where the clock starts. And it used to be a few months to get the paperwork back, but as suppressors have gotten more popular, and I don't know if the staff has been shrunk, I'm not sure exactly what it is, but anyway, in the last few years, it's gotten up at some points 12 to, I've heard some people say, 1.5 years. But you know, 10 to 12 months was kind of the number for a while. Now I've heard some reports that it is coming down again. Like I said, I just got this one back in 6 months, so that's pretty sweet. So there are 3 different ways to purchase a suppressor. The first way is to purchase it as an individual. That means it's registered to your name, and you need to go to your local law enforcement officer, the sheriff or police chief, and he needs to sign off on it for every suppressor that you buy. I believe you get fingerprinted and all that. So the downside to that is that it's a lot of hassle getting all that extra stuff done, and also you have to be in possession of this at all times. If it's being fired, obviously if it's in your safe, you don't have to stay in guard of your safe. But if this is on a range, or if it's in a car, if it's basically, if this is outside of your safe or home, you need to be in possession of it. You can't loan it to your wife. If you have older children, you know, old enough to go shooting by themselves, they can't take it. Your brother can't take it. Your mom, dad, nobody can take your suppressor without you being present. That's a pretty big negative. I think that's probably the biggest thing. I mean, going to the sheriff, getting paperwork, you know, getting it signed, whatever, that's not that big a deal. But I do believe that you have to be present at all times. That's kind of a little bit of a downer. The second method is a gun trust, and you basically set up a gun trust. You can do it through a lawyer. I believe there's some online websites you can do it through. Not extremely familiar with that because I didn't do that method, but the gun trust, you don't have to have the paperwork signed off by your local law enforcement officer. So that's one benefit to it. And the other benefit is that you don't have to be present with the suppressor if the person who is present is on the gun trust. So if you want your wife or children or brother or parents to be able to use this without you present, you just simply have to submit paperwork and have their names listed on the gun trust. Then if your brother pisses you off and you want him off the list, you submit the paperwork, take him off. I'm not sure exactly what time frame it is to add and subtract people, but as far as I know, I believe it's pretty quick. That's a big benefit to the gun trust. Now the other method is purchasing through a corporation or an LLC. This is the method I use because I have a corporation. I have an LLC. Purchasing through that has all the benefits of a gun trust in that you don't have to have local law enforcement sign off on it, and you also don't have to be present if the person who is present is a board member of your corporation. So if you want your brother or wife or parents to be able to shoot it, You just have to name them as a board member on your corporation, which, you know, is normally not a big deal. I believe it's just like the gun trust. I believe it's just a matter of submitting the paperwork. The pros and cons of a gun trust as compared to a corporation. The corporation requires maintenance. Every year you have to make sure that your corporation is in good standing. So if you have an old corporation and you're not really doing anything with it, you're going to have to keep it in good standing. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble. The gun trust, you just set it up and leave it. You set it up once, then you forget about it. No maintenance. So those are the pros and cons of the two. So basically what I tell people, and I do have a lot of people ask me this, but what I tell people, if you already have an LLC and you plan on keeping it and keeping it in good standing, file your paperwork under your LLC. If you do not already have an LLC, or you have one and you're not going to keep it in good standing, don't set up an LLC just for the purpose of purchasing suppressors, because the gun trust is just as easy to set up, if not easier, and it doesn't require maintenance. So definitely go the gun trust method if you don't have anything set up. Now, something you want to keep in mind. They've been trying to change the laws on this and get rid of the ability to purchase these under corporations and gun trusts. And the last I heard is that the date got extended. It was actually supposed to happen last May of 2014, but it got extended to, I believe it's January 2nd of 2015. But of course you're not going to be able to file paperwork January 1st, so in effect it's December 31st of 2014. At this time, from what the last update I heard is that you will not be able to file, or you'll not be able to purchase suppressors under LLCs and gun trusts. So if you want to use that method, you need to get your paperwork submitted now, before December 31st. It's my understanding, and I talked to my NFA dealer on this, as long as you have the suppressor purchased and the paperwork filed, you're good to go. You'll kind of be essentially grandfathered in, even if your paperwork is not approved until, you know, way next year. Just purchase it and get the paperwork submitted and you're good to go. But I would definitely recommend you do that now. Now, I heard about this issue from my NFA dealer, and I did a Google search of it, and as of September, from what I understand, is that once this law takes effect, supposedly it needs to be made public within for 3 months, for 90 days. So from some of the Google searches I'm doing, and I believe it was the guntrustlawyer.com, I don't remember for sure. So, and I'm not going to take, don't take this as gospel. This needs to be researched more. But from what I understand, there's going to be a 90-day period in which the public needs to be made public. The public would get to view this new law before it actually takes effect. So, but like I said, I'm not, you got to research that a little bit more. That's just what I got from this one website. And of course, there is always a chance that this could all get struck down, because I know there's the powers that be, whatever the National Suppressor Organization is, and I don't remember what it is, all the manufacturers are a part of it, and NRA, and of course everybody else are all fighting this. So it'd be nice if this got overturned. It's kind of silly. It's one of those laws that was made after the Sandy Hook shooting, and it's just kind of a ridiculous law, because I don't even remember the last time I heard of anybody getting shot with a legal suppressor, or with any suppressor for that matter. I haven't heard of it. I haven't heard of it. If anybody knows of any, you can correct me on that, but I have not heard of any shootings with suppressors. And that, that's kind of my final point will be, suppressors are not what Hollywood shows them to be. If you're not as familiar with suppressors, they're not an evil tool used by assassins. These things here have so many practical purposes, it's not even funny. If you're a shooter, it'll save your hearing. Yes, at the shooting range we all have hearing protection. A lot of us are double wrapped. I use insert hearing protection as well as electronic earmuffs, just because, you know, back in the military we used to shoot a lot without them, and you know, I know I have some hearing damage and I want to keep my ears in as good a shape as possible. So I double wrap my ears in most occasion. So on a shooting range we're good, but what about hunting? Very few hunters wear hearing protection when you're hunting. It's pretty hard to. For one thing, you want to hear. Now, in the last few years, I've been using electronic earmuffs when I deer hunt, or turkey hunt, or, you know, where I'm sitting in a stand. But when you're pheasant hunting and things like that, you can't use hearing protection. And to be honest, most people don't use them at all when they're hunting. I'm one of the few people I know that does. So these suppressors are going to protect your hearing when you're out hunting. And if you have small kids, it's going to protect their hearing. I made a huge mistake a couple years ago. I was deer hunting with my son. We were in a ground blind, and he was sitting beside me, and I had my Remington R25. It's 308. It's got pretty good bark to it. And saw a coyote, and I put my hand on my son to let him know I was shooting. But I completely forgot to tell him to cover his ears, and I fired, and you know, in that little blind, it hurt both of our ears. With a suppressor, you don't have to worry about that. So that's a huge benefit. It's going to save your hearing. It's going to save the hearing of your loved ones that you're hunting with. The other benefit, the recoil, completely takes care of a lot of recoil. Both of these are benefits if you're getting young children into shooting. The muzzle blast and the recoil of even a 5.56 can scare a new shooter. But with the suppressor on it, nothing. You're good to go. So I'm going to wrap this up. I've kind of yacked long enough, but if you have any questions about suppressors or filing the paperwork for suppressors, let me know. I am by no means an expert on it. These are my first suppressors. Filed them, you know, approximately 10 months ago, the first one, and just got them a couple weeks ago, so that's how new I am to them. But, you know, if I can't answer your question, I can help you find the place to go to get to answer the question. So, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. And also, I'd like to throw out a shout out, a thank you to the Shooter Shop in West Allis, Wisconsin. They are awesome. They are professional. They are prompt. Awesome. Answer all your questions, help you out. They even offered to help me fill out my SBR paperwork. I'm not even buying an SBR from them, and they said if I have any questions, bring the paperwork down and help me submit it. So, just an awesome place. So, if you're in my neck of the woods, check them out. You can go online. You can go online anywhere. Of course, anywhere that has internet. Look at them. Really good gun shop. Good group of people. So if you have any questions, let me know. Semper Fi.